Hi, it's Robin. I made a purchase on eBay recently and it arrived. To be clear, I already opened this. I was shocked at what I saw inside. So I've kind of put it back together, but I hope you can see there's tape here. I'm not trying to fool anybody here. Just tell you right up front. I taped it back together, but this is almost exactly how it arrived. Now, when the parcel was dropped off at my house, the courier actually took a picture as proof of delivery. So I can show you that. I've cropped it in so you don't have to see like my whole house or whatever, but I think what's left of the picture is totally clear enough to see that, yes, this is the same package and it's roughly in the same shape it arrived. You can look on the left side. The box is taken some damage. Here it is right here. And also on the left side, you can see that this eBay tape, green tape, was basically kind of tucked up and under and didn't go down the left side at all. And then you can see that the green is down at the bottom as well. But this whole side of the box wasn't taped properly. It was kind of weirdly taped. Yeah, a bit of damage there. And you can also see on the right side that this eBay tape was applied in a very, very lazy way where it just kind of covers most of the seam, but this whole part over here, it wasn't covering the seam at all. You can see that clearly in the delivery picture. And then on the right side, it just kind of stops. It goes like this. Okay, so I've had parcels show up in rough shape before, so I didn't think too much of it. And I did just kind of rip it open because it was so loose here. But then this is when things got kind of bad. Okay, so I'm just going to open it up again. I'll try it. This is basically what I did. I ripped it open like this. So it would open, then when I open it up, that's the extra piece of tape I put on there just to hold it together. Right, okay, so then when I opened it, and I swear this is exactly how it was, the box was totally without any kind of padding. It just had the item in it way down at the bottom. And this is like a fairly large box. So here, I'm going to take the item out. Well, we're going to look at that in more detail. And this is exactly how the item was too, by the way. I did not do any of this to it. Okay, so you just see the box is totally empty. You can see it's a fairly big box, much bigger than it needed to be for this item, which just, sits way down at the bottom, doesn't even take up, not even a quarter. Like, I could probably fit 5 of these in this box. And it was just totally loose to just bang around. That's the first major problem. And I'll move the camera in closer. Okay, so here's the next problem. Here's the package. It has its own postage information on it. I'll explain that shortly, what I think has actually happened. But this is how it arrived. So somebody had cut it open. And by the way, I want to make it clear that I think this is not the seller's fault. And it's also not the courier's fault who brought it to me. It's the middle. It's eBay in the middle that actually did all this damage. Okay, well, I might as well explain this. So I'm in Canada, and this is an eBay purchase from a seller in the USA. And what eBay has done in more recent years is allowed US sellers to ship a package to we'll call it a distribution center or kind of like a clearinghouse in the US. That's just easy and no hassle for the seller to send to. Then eBay processes it, gets it over the border, and then gets it to a Canadian customer. And I'm sure there's other equivalents in other countries. I'm just talking about what I'm familiar with. I make quite a few purchases from the US to here in Canada. So I think what we're looking at here is what the American seller sent me. I should just say, here's a photo of what I thought I was purchasing. It's an electronic football game by Entex. I love these Entex games, and it was just complete with the instructions, with the box. And I have a few of these in my collection. It was a good price, so I bought it because it looked good. And of course, eBay totally ruined that. Try and tell a linear story here. So what I think happened, the seller sends this to eBay to this spot here in Glendale Heights, Illinois, and eBay gets a hold of it and they're processing it. And there was a total just goon working that day, I guess, because what they did is what you see here. Instead of carefully opening this package, like maybe they have to open it to confirm that the seller sent the right thing. I don't know. But anyway, it's like they took, just a utility knife and just hauled into here. No care at all. And I swear I didn't do this. I mean, you've seen the evidence so far that they cut not only the package, and they cut, like a whole, almost 2 centimeters in from the edge of the package here, right through the box. And then they just cut across here. So this is cut here. This is totally cut right through. Up here, it's cut. They didn't go quite as deep. Or did they? Well, they kind of went along the edge. You can see they cut through the bubble wrap here. Okay, so total clods. Can't believe it. Okay, then I guess they took it out. Okay, so that's how they did. Look, you can look at there's like a inner. Okay, so the reason I'm making kind of a big deal about this is that eBay did this. I'm used to the occasional bad seller. I'm certainly used to the various postal services involved between them and me damaging items. But I have never seen eBay just wreck a thing like this before. So that's why I'm doing this. And also this is going to be part of my case to them to hopefully get my money back or something. Some sort of improvement. Okay, so when they cut through, they cut the box. What they did was actually totally destroyed its, kind of its integrity. So here, if we try to open the box, what we'll see now is that previously the box would have held things together better before, but it was actually just loose. I think I actually tucked it back in there a bit better. It was actually kind of flopping out of here a bit when it was banging around in that box. Okay, so what you can see now is that the structural integrity of this box is just wrecked, eh? This used to be one continual unit, and now it's been sliced into this. Okay, so that kind of weakened it further for it to be thrown into that box loose. Banged all the way. Just banged around. Okay, and so when I opened it, I thought, oh, well, maybe it survived okay. I mean, the game box is wrecked, but at least the game's probably okay. But this piece of styrofoam here is supposed to go on top, and it gets rid of that kind of gap there. And then with the tight game box around it, it would have held together. So the seller sending it, if the seller's at fault at all, maybe for putting it in a bubble envelope kind of thing instead of a proper box. But I've had this happen before, and the stuff still arrives okay, because these internal boxes with the styrofoam and with the cardboard around it, it's pretty secure. Okay, but when they cut the cardboard, they got rid of that. Sorry if I'm repeating myself here. And then this, that should be on top, is actually just underneath. Okay, so further kind of compromising it. So I thought, oh, well, at least it's okay. It has the instruction book. That's neat. And here's the game. I thought, well, the game still looks okay. There. But actually, oh, there. Hear it? Yeah. It didn't take long to notice that there's something rattling around in here now. And when I look, okay, there's a screw. There's a screw. There's a screw. This corner, no screw. And this whole edge is now loose. It's like it's taken some internal damage. Maybe that's the screw rattling around in there. Seller shipped it with batteries. I'm not sure. That is tight now. Okay, so there's 3 alkaline batteries. Okay, so that's how it looks inside. Really was in pretty nice shape. Such a shame that these things can last 40 years and then you try to get them to a loving home and they just get wrecked on the way. Okay, and then when I turn it on, the switch here. Okay, and so here's the other problem here. I'm going to dim the lights in case that helps make it more visible. It showed up really nice in the seller's picture. Well, there, the brightness is not too bad now. If it looks like it's flickering, I can't see it to my eye, but the lights seem very dim, if that's wrong. But anyway, there is one more thing wrong here. Okay, and what that is that the buttons are just broken now. This is going to be hard to show too. Okay, but I've had lots of these electronic games, and the buttons you can actually push down normally. But if you can see, basically this has got smashed down, is now stuck down totally, and the other buttons, I can't even push them. Like, I don't want to force them, but basically I'm pushing what should be enough to move it, and it's absolutely not budging, and that one is just pushed down. That one won't move. Well, that one's, oh, they're kind of smashed sideways, aren't they? Yeah. So I feel like the whole PCB inside of here has shifted a bit. That's probably it, and that's why it's got jammed up against there. This button is also won't push anymore. Those ones I can't move either. That one I can't move. Yeah, and that one's smashed down too. Actually, from here, see it, those are angled now. Kind of like the whole thing has got shifted. Oh yeah. So I do want to open it, but I'm afraid that they'll accuse me of wrecking it or something. So I haven't done anything to it. Well, basically I want my money back, but really what I want is this thing working. I want it in the same shape it was when I bought it. That's what I want. Okay, so now that I've documented all this in probably overly painstaking detail, I'm going to send this information. I don't know if I'll send the whole video. Are they going to want to watch Robin Speed videos? Probably not. Anyway, I'm going to send this information to eBay, to the seller, who, again, I don't blame at all, and see how eBay responds. And I will come back with an update. If they let me keep this thing, after refunding my money, which they may, then maybe I'll open it up and see if we can see what happened to the inside of it. And if I have to mail it back to them, then I will not be able to do that. But maybe I've raised awareness. If the oaf who did that cutting, just think that person, how many things they could damage in a day if that's their approach to this. Right? That's horrible. Like, that person could be dealing with hundreds of, at least dozens of items a day at the rate that they probably went through mine, probably hundreds. Just terrible. Think of all the vintage things that have survived all this time, and then that eBay worker comes along with a knife and just cuts it all up. Brutal. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, so after I record that whole previous session, I went to the eBay website. In the My eBay purchase history section, you can see a list of your past purchases. And then next to the item, there's a View Order Details button to click. On that Order Details page, there's a More Actions button. And that's where you can choose Return the Item. That's really the only way to try getting your money back when you have this kind of problem. I didn't really want to return it, but that's just how it works. Then it asks why you're returning it. There's various reasons, and I chose item damaged. Then it asked if there was anything else to share. And so I wrote up my description of the problem. The field has a limit of just 500 characters, and I certainly could have used more, but I tried to squeeze the main points in there. Yes, 13 minutes of video I had to sum up in 488 characters. Some of you wish I'd always be that brief. Then they require you to add photos with a limit of 10. So I took what I think are choice screenshots showing the damage from the first section of this video, and I uploaded those. Then I tried to go to the next page, and I don't know why, but I got this "We ran into a problem" error in red. the first time I tried to submit the photos, but I just tried again and it worked the second time. Then this screen appears about how they'll provide a free return shipping label to send the item back, and I'd be refunded everything I paid. So yeah, I paid just $15 for the game, which was, I think, a very good deal, $22.33 for shipping, and $2.90 in tax. Yes, shipping plus tax is quite a bit more than the item itself. This unfortunately has become very common, even over the last 10 years or so, for many purchases here in Canada. But it's often still worth it to me. Then I submitted that form and I was told we're processing your return, and this animation went on for quite a while, maybe more than a minute. I actually expected that I'd have to wait for some decision to be made, and that would take hours or days for an eBay employee to look at. But no, they're actually making your decision while you wait within a minute or so. I have no idea if a human gets involved to make sure I'm not scamming them or what. And then the magic smoke clears and it tells me my request has been approved, my refund is being processed, and very interestingly, there's no need to return the item. I can only assume the economics of shipping this damaged item all the way back to the seller just don't make sense. It's cheaper for them to just leave it with me than to spend even more money. So I'd sent the previous segment to my patrons as a preview, and I got a couple questions and comments I want to address now. Some suggested that the damage may have been done by Canadian Customs. That's possible, but because of the eBay tape on the box, I don't really think so. It looks like eBay touched it last. Even if Customs did do the cutting damage to the box, then when eBay got it back, they certainly could have put some packing material in this huge box to stop it banging around. And some wondered if this happens all the time or frequently. No, this is actually the first time I've seen eBay directly cause damage, if indeed it really was eBay. I've had a couple parcels completely lost, and that would be because of Canada Post or the couriers here. And eBay did refund my money for those ones too, so that's pretty good. And actually, one time, the parcel showed up here at my house in pretty good shape a full month after I got my money back. I have no idea where it had been in the meantime. So overall, I do have a pretty good experience with eBay purchases, enough that I keep going back. I can only assume the fairly high shipping fees have sort of an insurance built into them to help pay for when things go wrong. So this has, I guess, become mine. Because of the jammed up buttons, they haven't gotten any better. And that, whatever that is, rattling around. I might as well try and open it up and see if we can see what's wrong with it. And maybe it'll be possible to fix. Maybe it'll even be easy. I don't know. So everything I know about repair is what I learned from Adrian's Digital Basement. And I think the most important thing he taught me is to always use a towel from the 1970s. If you choose a good towel, everything else just flows from that. So make sure you get one if you don't have one. Okay, we're going to get rid of these batteries now. So always take your batteries out. I don't think I've ever attempted a repair video. I have made 200 and whatever videos. Have I ever tried to fix something on camera? I don't really know what I'm doing. If this part of the video is terrible, well, I warned you. Okay, so let's remove those screws. One's already out, thanks to thanks to whoever. 1, 2. That's the one that's already missing, knocked out, or whatever. I don't know where it went, though. All right. 3 little screws there. Hello. Obviously, I'll be jump cutting throughout all this. So whenever something interesting happens, I guess I'll try and open it up this way. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's the battery compartment and the jack there. Whoa. Okay. it was the speaker jumping around. So I got some dried up tape here. Oh, okay. Okay, so the speaker probably was clipped onto here. Now if it was glued on or if it just snapped in. And then this wire, obviously, I guess it was soldered on there, and that broke off. It's probably from the impact of it banging around. Okay, does that fix the button? No, the buttons are still jammed up. All right, so we'll try taking all these screws out here that are holding the circuit board in. Those are strangely loose, so they seem to be the same size. 3. Those two sure are close to each other. Okay, how do you film this stuff? Who else do I watch that does repairs? I like Jan Beta. I repair them here. I guess that's because the controls are on the opposite side. Reinforce it a bit. And there's one. Okay, 4 screws on each end. Does it lift out now? Oh, it's a bit of a sandwich there. Okay, looks like the screen was attached. Ooh, that got bright. Okay. Oh. Oh, these are broken. Oh. I don't know, I guess this material... So this material, maybe it was already kind of dried out. Well, I don't know. Yeah, so this has actually become really rigid. Well, I hate to say it, eBay, but maybe this wasn't working very well even before it left. Yeah, this has become fairly brittle. So I assume when this was new, this was a lot softer. Like I've seen this kind of thing inside other games before, and these have stayed soft. This has become quite hard. Kind of like dried out gum. You know, like stick gum or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, just like a lot of things, this would be flexible. You push the button, and then it would push this, whatever, is that a carbon pad or whatever? I don't know what I'm talking about. But it pushes down, that conductor comes down, and then here's the circuit. There's like the plus and the minus side of that circuit. It's kind of interwoven, and when it presses down, it closes the circuit. So it's just like it's like a joystick or any other kind of thing. These are just switches, and they use those kind of pads to close it, like a keyboard or all kinds of things. If I haven't seen one go so super crusty before. Ugh. That's from the other side there. That part's plain old come right out of it. Okay. So, I don't know if that's good news or bad news. What I was hoping is I just open this up and I'd be able to like reposition something. It would just start magically working. That was a bit optimistic. On the other hand, it doesn't seem like there is very serious impact damage. It's not as bad as I thought. So if I can just find an equivalent kind of conductor sort of pad that will provide both, when I try to say the resistance and the spring, so that when you push a button down, it'll close the circuit and then it'll push the button back up when you release it. Because that's what these have lost by becoming, it really feels just like really old bubble gum. Like the kind, well, even when they're brand new, you buy those certain kind of trading cards and they would have a stick of gum in them. And that's what this stuff feels like. Ooh, it's brittle. Look, it just cracked. I just gave it a little bit of pressure there in one hand, with just one thumb and finger, and it broke. Yeah, so I sort of think this was done before. Okay, well, don't tell eBay. I mean, they definitely wrecked the box, but maybe they did not wreck the game. Or at least they didn't wreck the controls. They may have broken that corner still that was bent. Okay, I am going to look into this a bit and see if I can come up with a substitute for these things. And maybe I'll even find out the name of them. Okay, it's been about a day or so, and I've got some good news. I think I came up with a solution here. I don't know if you'll like it or not, but I'll show it to you. Okay, so I'm going to turn the lights off here. So the switch here says off, man, that's manual or player man, or aut for auto, which means playing against the computer. Okay, so I'll put in that auto. So I've got the buttons working here. This one here is for changing the display. You can kind of toggle between the different displays here. Not that I know for sure what each one of them means. Game stats. So that one's working now. It wasn't before. And I got these ones working. Either kick, pass, or run. I only kind of know how this game works. But here, if I press kick. Okay. So I don't totally get what's going on for this part of the game, but at least it seems to be playing. Okay, so I think I have to move here. So you see the left and right move. So I think I'm on defense here, and I'm like the bottom player who's kind of more faint. And the bright one near the top is the CPU who's on the offense right now, and I'm on defense. So basically, I think I just have to try and block. There, I can move left and right. I got him, I think. There we go. Actually, I can just move up towards him. Oh, I let him by. So it's actually kind of a neat game, like, in that it's multi-screens. Like, it's not just a representation of the whole field. It's actually zoomed in on a particular section. It shows how many yards you are along. Each of these is like a 20-yard section, I think. Oh, I let him by. Okay, one of my other guys got him. There, I got him. So I'm just moving that the bottommost one. If I can get him completely out here, then you'll see I can go on the offense. Got him. There. Okay, now I guess they're kicking it. I'm not totally sure. I think that's a kick. And then I think my guy caught it, and he's running forward some distance. I think that all happens automatically. And now here's me. Now I'm the bottom player, and you can see I can move left and right. I can move up. And I got, oh, he caught me. Or they caught me. That wasn't a pronoun thing. That was, okay, there. One of them got me. I'm just waiting for where I can make a break here. Oh, no. I just want to get through one screen. Okay, then we'll talk. I saw I'd show you some of the gameplay while it's working, just in case I break it when I open it up again. There, I got through a few screens there. Oh, too slow. Ah, that was dumb. I moved right on top of them. There we go. Got through them. Okay, so it's saying, I think yards to go, 28. Oh, I ran right into the guy again. 14 yards to go? Or is that the time remaining? Not sure. They do a lot of different... They get a lot of use out of those little digit displays on the side here. 6. Ooh, did I get a touchdown? I'm not sure. Okay, now I can't run, so I think I either have to... This is where I can kick, I think. Okay. Now I can kick again. I think I'm kicking it back to the other team, who are then running their quarterback. Got it. Okay, you get the idea. So I think it's working. Like I said, pretty neat game for 1980. That is a super advanced electronic game. Oh, so I got the lights back on. So you might notice that this side does not have the buttons in it. And that's because this was kind of a proof of concept. So I would have a clue what I'm doing. And then I'll show you how I did this side by doing this side right here in video. Okay, so I'll try to skip over the repetitious stuff that you already watched me do. Just opening this back up again. Okay, I'm just going to turn on my soldering iron here. Just realize it's super close to my microphone. I hope it's not going to cause trouble. If it sounds weird, it's because of my soldering iron. Okay, so just so it's less fiddly, have I ever soldered on camera before? Flip that over. A little weird that they have the plus and the minus clearly marked over here, but they only had the positive on this side and they had negative over here for whatever reason. Must have been some reason though. Maybe it's just a matter of where the wires were. Okay, just so we can get that out of the way for now. So otherwise you've got 3 pieces all flopping around. Now that I'm not so scared of soldering, it's kind of nice sometimes just to, back when I was a kid, I was trying to do this kind of repair, or even when, not actually that long ago, I'd try to avoid soldering and end up having all these different pieces kind of folded every which way. If you notice, I got the sound working again. It was beeping away while we were playing the game there. And yeah, so I just soldered the positive back on. And it doesn't seem to be flopping around anymore. So I think it does, once it's sat in there properly, it is closed. So even if the seller sent this to me, if the control's bad, eBay certainly did do some of the other damage, I think. Okay, so this little subboard here is where that middle button was. So I'm just going to undo that one. And again with the 8 screws, 10 screws in total. Those 2 on that little switchboard, that little subboard, are a bit more stubby. So I won't mix those together. A little shorter. These ones are a little pointier. I guess I already showed taking all this apart, so anyway, hopefully I'll make it flow faster in the edit. I had to put it back together again to test it. Okay, so you can just lift this up again. Okay, that comes right out. So yeah, I cleaned up these a bit, and there's that little subboard, so that's where it had a button. That had its own little, that green gum stick stuff. It was really in nasty shape there. So I cleaned all that up, and that basically crumbled away to nothing. So anyway, I cleaned up all the pads there. You can see there's the LED array. It's got the little segmented display for the score and the yardage and everything. And then all these are just LEDs. Those little men there, those are the players. Pretty weird, eh? They look like little snakes, but I guess it's an overhead dude. So it's just mostly blacked out. It just lets the red light through on those little elements there. So this is before VFDs from in the very early 80s. Vacuum fluorescent displays weren't so common, so they were just using these LED arrays with this kind of overlay to to make it look like they were characters. Okay, so here is my solution. It's not perfect, but it seems to work good enough. These are these little, I guess they're called silicon conductive button pads or controller pads, or whatever you want to call them. Maybe it's rubber, I think it's silicon. And all I've done, I've got a D-pad one here that I found is like almost a perfect fit. And then these other little ones that fit inside the buttons. It's a little bit janky. They're a little bit off. But these pads are so big here where you close the circuit. They're so big, it really does not matter if you're a little bit off. At least, it seems to be working. So if you don't like my solution, I understand. You're welcome to do something better, and I guess you'll feel free to leave suggestions. Okay, so where did I get these from? Well, I was looking at a bunch of calculators I had, because I know some calculators have those kind of pads in them. Even more often, remote controls have them. Okay, so here we go. I've got this PSX Controller, brand new in the box for use with Sony PlayStation. And it's these super cheap third-party PlayStation controllers, unofficial. And I bought a whole bunch of these because I just saw them like in a clearance bin for, I think maybe even just like $1 each. So I just bought them all, like 10 of them or whatever. I don't think they're worth anything. Okay, but they're a treasure trove of parts that are perfect for this. So I'm just going to cut that open. Woohoo! Yeehaw! Boy, they always got to stick that cord. There we go. Okay, the back says absolutely nothing except there, UPC, made in China. Okay. It's not a terrible controller. I think I've used a couple of them for their actual purpose, but I've still got a whole bunch of them and they're not worth anything. So why not? If I can sacrifice something like this and get a 45-year-old piece of electronics that's a lot more rare and just a lot more interesting to me, I might as well. Okay, so it has 6. I got my little smaller screwdriver out here. 1, 2. I said 6 screws. I think it has 5. Oh, look, I think I pulled an eBay there and I cut my controller. Went a little deep with the box cutter there. Difference is, I'm not saying this to anybody else. This is already mine. I can do whatever I want to it. And all I have to do is endure the complaints of viewers. That's still mine. Okay, so 5 little screws. And we can open this up. Look at that. It just opens like nothing. Okay, there's the whole bottom. Okay, I got a parts bin here. Okay, but check out all the nice little goodies here. There's these little rumble motors. They're cute. Okay, so in here, stuck into these, what do you call it, shoulder pads or whatever. Shoulder pads. Shoulder buttons are 2 of these little, these conductive silicon pads. There you go. And we'll look at those more in a bit because we have to slightly modify them. Okay, and there's a little PCB on here. There's 3 screws. Let's take those off. Cannibalize. I don't know, maybe some of these other parts will be useful someday. I will keep them in my boxes of junk. Okay, so there's thumbsticks. Those are kind of neat. There. Okay, you can see how similar those look, just like the ones inside the Entex. They're 25 years later or whatever. I don't even know what year this is made. Anyway, here's what we're looking for. Okay, it's got this funny little pad in the middle. That's 6 of those. I didn't find a use for that this time, but maybe sometime. Okay, but here's the D-pad. And here's 4 more. Those little guys. Woohoo! Fun little parts. And there's 2 more in there. Okay, there's all the leftover parts. Lots of stuff. Those quartz could even come in handy. Okay, but that's what we were really after, is all these guys. Silicon conductive button pads. I actually looked on Amazon, at least here in Canada, it was going to be like 20 Canadian just to get like a set or 2 of these. Those are, I think, for PlayStation 4 controllers, which I don't even know would fit as well or whatever. Okay, so we'll put these little arrows in. It's interesting that they are so close to the idea of a D-pad, even in 1980. But joysticks were all the rage. You know, I think it was Nintendo that really popularized the D-pad, but certainly things just like it were around well before the NES. Okay, so I put the buttons in. Yeah, basically I'd done this ahead of time, but if I set my caliper to, okay, I got it at 20 millimeters, 2 centimeters, and that is almost perfect to the centers of that D-pad, and you see it's really close here too. This might be slightly further, but again, there's plenty of wiggle room here for slight inaccuracy. It's even a nice, like, circular thing right in the middle there that goes perfectly through this hole that already exists. So it works really well, except this is kind of sunken in, and this thing here has this lip around it. But anyway, no problem. All I had to do, oops, did this pretty well before. So I'm realizing now I'm trying to do it good for camera. Does make things trickier, right? You guys who do lots of repairs on camera all the time, I just try to get everything recorded properly in addition to doing the job. Okay, so if I don't do this perfect, well, tough. So I don't totally mess it up. I actually did that previously in one nice cut, but I had it right down the table. Is that little fleck of it on my hand bothering you? Whoops. Okay, probably good enough. It's a little easier if I brace it down on the table off. Okay, that's pretty good. And the only remaining problem, there's a tiny little post there that was supposed to anchor the original. I wonder if I can put a little hole there. It's a little bit. Okay, well, I put a slit there instead. But that should hold it more or less in place. I realize that this might slip around given time, so I might have to come up with a better solution. It seems pretty good. I played a fair bit, and it seems to hold in place. Not bad. Okay, and for these other pads, there actually seems to be 2 sizes. The blue ones have a bigger conductive pad, so I'll use those. And they have this little stubby end on them, which at first I was thinking about cutting off, but actually, now unfortunately these don't have a hole right in the center. This is slightly too big for that hole, but what I found is if I just cut off, okay, so I just made a cut down and a cut from the side, squared it off a little there, and then I found fits in there fine. Seems pretty secure. So I did that for the other one too. And then just shove it in here. There we go. Not perfect, but again, those pads are big enough that it seems to work fine. Oh, that slipped a bit too, the other one. Okay, and now this has to go back in. I'll line it up right. There we go. This needs to be wiggled a little. All right, as always, go counterclockwise a little until the screw drops into the hole. There, and then go clockwise to tighten. Okay, that little daughter board's in. And we just got to put the 8 screws back in here. And these really need to be into test because this is what takes the, well, I say the pressure, but it's what squeezes those conductive pads between the PCB and the actual buttons, the yellow plastic controller buttons. All right, fire up the soldering station again. Okay, melt, melt, melt. Okay. This is kind of a pain getting this one back on. Okay, so put that little speaker back in there. That's why I don't do hardware videos. I don't want to hear about it. Okay, and then I'll put that guy back over there. Really got to make room for that little battery box that just fits in there. That over there. That there. Okay, let's finish it up. Yeah, I didn't find a replacement for that missing screw yet. There we go. I'm going to do the one in the speaker corner for sure, because I want that speaker rattling around. And I'm going to do the one for the one player, which is down at this end. If you're just playing a CPU game, this is where the human player is, down at this end. Okay, that's in. Let's put those batteries back in. Plus, interesting that this runs on just 4.5 volts. Later games were all 6 or 9 volts. But maybe it's because they're just using the LEDs. I don't know. They could get away with 4.5. Okay, we got to see, did the 70s towel bring us enough good luck? Okay, first of all, we'll see if it still powers up. I'm going to turn off those lights. Oh, I hope it still powers up. Yay! Okay, so actually now I'm going to start a 2-player game. So I'm going to move this up to off and then manual. I'm actually going to be able to play it very well, but turn that off a bit longer. It didn't seem to reset. Oh, I guess it's because manual, it's not going to automatically kick off. Okay, so I get to choose. I'm going to say kick. Woohoo! Okay, so now I think I'm on the offense on this side. No, I guess I'm wrong. Well, that's working. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's working. I went back to a 1-player game. I'm going to try a 2-player game again. I'm not sure if controls aren't working or I'm just not understanding. Buttons feel okay. Okay, I think I got it working now. So yeah, this side is defense and this side is offense. So you can see I can move that guy around and I'm moving that particular player there. Yeah, there he goes. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, basically I just have to press harder on this side. There we go. Okay, it's yet another day later. I don't think I've ever done so many separate recording sessions day after day like this. Okay, so while what I just showed was working, I wasn't happy with the second player controls. So I took the game apart yet again, and I'm going to spare you all the painful details of that. I didn't take any footage. I just wanted to work on it. But here's the problem. Here's the D-pad that I had put in there. Okay, and if we measure, I've got the continuity mode on right now. So still, what is that? So there's like well over 100 ohms resistance on that still. Oop. Okay, you see basically there, that should be buzzing. So just as an example, here's this little guy. Okay, so that, maybe that one's borderline too, but that's good enough to buzz. Seems like the multimeter buzzes around 50 or below 60. Let's try a couple more. How about this one? Yeah, that one's good. Oh yeah, that's down around 30 ohms. That one's good. So basically it's hit and miss with these. So what I did, I opened up a third controller, and that D-pad was good enough. So I put that one in instead. These are brand new, as in unused, but of course they're 20 or maybe even 25 years old. I don't remember for sure when I bought them, or when they were manufactured for that matter. So even these are fairly vintage now, and I think that material just degrades over time. So possible solutions besides getting new membranes, I looked around online. There's something called Keypad Fix, clean and restore conductivity to the carbon on the keys and the copper PC board pad. So I've ordered some of that, and that's like, I think, a mixture that you then put on these pads, and it restores conductivity on them. And there's also little replacement pads that some of them are adhesive, and they come in different sizes, like 3, 4, 5, 6 millimeters. These particular ones are 4.5. So I guess you could get some of those and stick them on. If that doesn't give you enough clearance, you might have to like cut or scrape off the existing ones and then stick those new ones on. And be aware, there's also these variety packs with a whole bunch of sizes, but they don't seem to have adhesive included. So you'd have to figure out your own glue or something to stick them on with. Those non-adhesive ones that look like a good deal have much worse reviews, I've noticed. And one other one, there's a company called Buttonworks, spelled with an X, and they appear to sell self-contained buttons that you stick directly onto the circuit board, and they've got either carbon or metal pads in them. I have no idea how good they are, but that might be a neat solution as well. Okay, so just something to look into if you're in a similar situation, or next time I run into this problem, I might try and tackle it differently. Okay, one more attempt at a demonstration now that I have that replacement D-pad in. So now what? Can I kick there? Okay, yeah. So each team has to kind of choose, I think these numbers here, in addition to be a D-pad, it also has 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. I think you can choose kind of like your strategy, but okay, there's the offensive guy on the left moving. Okay, so there's down, or actually that's what, left. There's forward. There, got him. Okay, so you see it is working quite a bit better now with this other D-pad in there. Still, probably it's a bit worn, but basically I think it's pretty playable now. Okay, there we go. Let's go get him. I guess. I just wanted a slightly more happy conclusion there. All right, so I'm fairly happy with that. I mean, except for my time, I didn't pay any money, even the repair. Well, I guess I paid a couple dollars years ago to get those PSX controllers that had all the parts I needed for this. Okay, and I'm not sure about my detective skills. I'm a bit disappointed that, I was so sure that the eBay damage, they definitely did cut the box, I think, or maybe Customs did. I'm almost certain eBay did it. It'd be terrible if my whole premise was totally wrong. I'm sure the controls had died of old age. And if anybody knows what those little membrane pads were made of in these Entex games, I am interested. Hope it's not something like, full of cancer or something. So anyway, I'm glad it's more or less working. So thanks very much to my patrons for their support. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
Collecting the bottle caps, we needed all 6. Trying to spell Pac-Man, the C was hard to get. I got my prize, a plastic yellow disc with 4 buttons, and in the middle, vacuum fluorescent display. The brilliant glow pierced my soul. Got Defender on sale at KB Toys.